Two of Mrs. Johnson's children suffer from a rare genetic bone disease, and they both have recently had major surgery. Her 10-year-old had his hip rebuilt and is using a wheelchair, while her 13-year-old had a tumor taken out of his ankle and is using a walker. The 10-year-old also uses a walker to move from his chair to the car. She's parked in a handicapped space and is trying to get them loaded into the car. There are 6 open handicap spaces, but this elderly man decides he needs a space directly next to their driver's side. Elderly man, honking horn, "Get out of the way." She said, "I need to get the kids loaded. I'll be out the way shortly." Elderly man, honking even louder, scaring her 10-year-old. "Get out of the way, lady. You don't even need this spot." She said, "Sir, my 2 disabled children do need this spot, but there are several other open spots if you're in a hurry." By the time, she has a wheelchair-bound child in the car. She set his walker aside to push the chair to the back of her car and retrieve her older child's walker from the other side of the car. Unfortunately, she is not fast enough. The elderly man honks again, then bullies his way into the spot and drives over the walker. She's nearly in tears, and has just put her head down trying to get the wheelchair folded up and put in the trunk of her car. The elderly man gets out of the car while she has the chair halfway from the ground to the trunk. Elderly man says, "You're very rude. You should be ashamed of yourself. You shouldn't even be using this spot. It's obvious you don't need it." She said, literally slack-jawed, "I'm sorry you feel that way." As the elderly man leaves, 2 young men who look like thugs approach her. The young men said, "We've seen everything and feel really bad for you. Can we help you to get the wheelchair and walkers into your car?" She said, crying and trembling, "Yes." Not only do the young men get the medical equipment in her car, but they get her 10-year-old laughing again with their non-stop jokes. After they finish helping her, she said, "Thank you. Can I do anything to repay your kindness?" The young men waved them off. "We're just doing what decent people would do. Have a pleasant day." She found out later that they'd noticed the elderly man's tag number and had gone inside to report the incident to the manager. The police were called, and the elderly man was held responsible for the damage to the walker. That was for today's story. Please leave a like, and if you wanted to hear more stories, please subscribe to Storytime channel.